everyone, welcome back to Shloka Best Talk. Now, before we start, just to be clear, I'm here today as not someone who will ask you about your homework, attendance, or your uniform checks. This is just a safe space for all of you to share your opinion. One thing that we strongly believe at Shloka is that students don't just listen, they think, they question, and they speak. That's why today I'm here to listen to them, to listen to you all. So today's topic is something I know many of you have thought about it, including myself, when I was just a teenager, especially after watching or hearing someone that I've made my first 1 lakh rupees at 16, I have made my first startup at 13. And you're thinking, right? Wow, I'm still deciding on how to spend my pocket money, and today people are earning money over there. So today we are asking a very real question: pocket money to profit. Can students really be entrepreneurs? Is this exciting, or is it overrated, or is it actually possible if done the right way? Let's hear from students directly, because no one can understand students' life better than they themselves. So to start with, I have accompanied with my 5 soldiers of Shloka Best Talk. So I would begin with Tarun. Tarun from pre-IGCSE. Tarun, I will start with you. The first question to you, and I want to understand the perspective and opinion from your side. When you hear the phrase teenage entrepreneur, what is the first thing that comes to your mind, and why do you feel that way about it?
Well, that's definitely an interesting question. I think being a student usually feels like you're just following a set of tracks. You go to class, you take the test, you move to the next grade. As simple as that. But when I hear about teenage entrepreneurs, I think of someone who decide to jump off those tracks and become pioneers. The reason why I feel like that is probably because a mix of respect and a bit of how did they do it? Because let's be real, most of us are just trying to balance our Instagram account with a math final around the corner. Seeing someone our age outreach and manage multiple accounts on top of all of that is wild. It's a reminder that we don't actually have to wait until we are grown ups to start making an impact or have a voice in the real world.
That's interesting point that you have shared. It's quite exciting for all of us to imagine to be an entrepreneur, and especially as students, as young adults, and especially the Gen Z and Gen Alphas. Everybody starts imagining that they are the entrepreneurs, and it's right that you have your own imaginations to take it up things. But however, it is not that easy for everyone to imagine a student with a suit, with a laptop and a coffee already and working like an executive. But that's something is real that goes on in everybody's mind. So that's nice to hear how it excites the students when you talk about student entrepreneurship. So leading to this, from this question, I would continue asking Mahida. Mahida, do you think teenagers can actually turn pocket money into real business? Or is it a social media that is making it look easier than it is? What shapes your opinion about this topic?
Yes, teenagers can realistically build a business from their pocket money. It's not just social media hype. Those platforms do spotlight the big wins, but at its core, it's straightforward and doable. So, in my opinion, any student, any teenager can turn their pocket money into real business if they follow these specific criteria. So, we must have some basic budget. So, we must buy some simple supplies, craft what the people need, sell it locally or online, and just scale up your business. And soon you could just get a lot of profit out of your business. So any teen with who is driven who is focused and who is consistent can get a profit out of a real business.
Of course, yes. If I talk about the Reliance company startup was done by Ambani, Dhirubhai Ambani, who was just 12 years, who had a thought of earning money at that age. So it is real and it is possible for a student to make money from their pocket money itself, to make profits with the small businesses. And of course, social media does have a talent for showcasing success and hiding the hard work. And very rightly said, Mahidhar, the steps that you said, you really need to plan up, you really need to follow certain things, you really need to gear up in making yourself disciplined. And that's what we look at it. So which hard work is being hidden in social media, but the reality is that if you put a discipline, you as a student can still make profits with your pocket money. Well, with that point, I would like to ask a question to Aryan. Aryan, let me bring this to a very common student dilemma. That do you think it's a good idea for teenagers to focus on earning money while they're still in school?
Well, honestly, if I have to give my viewpoint, it would be something like earning money as a teenager can be a good idea, honestly, but only to a certain extent. You see, money making at a young age teaches valuable life skills such as responsibility, time management, independence, and understanding how real world functions. Small ventures like freelancing, tutoring, content creation, or simple part-time works can build confidence and practical experience that school alone may not provide. However, school should remain the primary focus. Academic foundations, critically thinking skills, and discipline developed during these years lay foundation to our lives, which cannot be replaced later. If earning money begins to interfere with studies, mental health, or personal development, then it stops becoming beneficial and starts becoming counterproductive. So, earning money is useful as a supplement, not a substitution.
Well said. And I also would like to ask one thing as a principal, but also as someone who knows exams don't disappear just because you start a business, right? However, at Shloka, academics are important, but life doesn't come with question papers. So conversations like this help students to think beyond marks without losing focus on studies and being responsible and being disciplined by giving a priority at the time of a student age, give a priority for your academics, and at the same time think and observe and find a solution that you can still gear up with your skills of business thoughts as well. Well said, Aryan. That makes me understand that how our students, the Gen Zs, are looking for a balance between both. Now coming to Abdur, your turn. In your opinion, is confidence the ultimate startup fuel or just a hype trap? And why is that you think so?
So, in my opinion, it is an ultimate startup fuel because confidence is something that helps us in managing any situation. Setting famous entrepreneurs as an example like Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, and Elon Musk, we can see how just being confident can do wonders. Like Elon Musk, he's one of the richest person of the whole world. Bill Gates, he owns Microsoft, and that's great. What's a key thing is confidence. They are confident, which helps them to come up to this level.
It's a very good insight that you have shared. I would also like to share just a day before I was watching about this InShots. InShots was a startup with a dropout IITian. When we questioned him, the people questioned him on a podcast, what was the secret of you starting this? He just said, I wanted to start, I just did it. It's the confidence. And he said, what I feel is if I want to do it, I will do it. If it fails, Okay, I will try next. If it comes as a success, I will take it. That's the confidence that is building in these startup founders. And yes, the big businesses are built with the confidence. And of course, at school, this is what we really require for our children. It's not always about the corrections, it's not always about the marks, it's always about believing yourself. It's always about the confidence that you show. You show up in your academics or in your post-scholastic or in your entrepreneurship skills. Everywhere confidence matters. And at Shloka, we will ensure all of you are boosted with that confidence. So, entrepreneurship is not compulsory as math, but definitely, yes, conversations like this will build the confidence among our children. So that's a really interesting point that you have brought it to us with your opinion, Abdur. Coming to Satvik. Satvik, I would love to know about your perspective on this question. Just put your thoughts on this question. Do you really think entrepreneurship should be something every student should experience, or should it depend on personal interest and ability?
Well, I am a staunch advocate for it, but not necessarily for the profit. I support it because entrepreneurship is the ultimate experiential classroom. It moves a student from passive consumption to active contribution. When a student tries to build something, be it a small bake sale or a digital service, they encounter resilience and resourcefulness in ways that textbook cannot simulate. However, I do question this hustle culture obsession. Entrepreneurship in school should be a laboratory for curiosity, not a source of premature burnout or financial anxiety. The goal isn't to create the next billionaire by the age 18. It is to cultivate the growth mindset that values problem solving and not over mere rote learning.
It's really a very insightful point that you have brought, that today, even at the age of 18, people are becoming billionaires. So it sounds exciting to understand that entrepreneurship is really a challenging thing. But it's not as simple as a reel or a hashtag. But yes, it is more about beyond that, a discipline, a confidence, a commitment, a vision that we need to have as students. Now let's talk about the real side of it. Mistakes, pressures, values, and what happens when things don't go planned, because that's where the actual learning begins. So with this point, Tarun, I would like to ask you again, what are some realistic risks or mistakes teenage entrepreneurs might face when starting out, and how should they respond if their first idea fails?
Well, the biggest risk isn't going bankrupt. Most of us probably don't even have enough money to go bankrupt in this. The real risk is that ego. You get little bit of the success or few followers and you start thinking you have figured it all out. Then the first time you hit a wall, damn, it hurts a lot. Also, let's be real. The risk of missing out on being a normal student is there. You are trading parties, gaming times for spreadsheets and gold emails.
Good point, what you said. FOMO, the fear of missing out. That's the new trend that's going on with the Gen Zs and people who are looking forward to start up and be an entrepreneur, where they find the success and they convert that into egos, and when they find a failure, they don't understand how to overcome. The resilience is what is important. So failure doesn't mean game over. It usually means next level is unlocked. One thing I always tell my students here, failure in school should be a lesson, not a label. It's better to try, fail safely and learn early. And that's what I want to give a platform to my children, that try it out, fail, learn to rebuild it, learn to be a resilient student. So with this, Mahidar, let's talk about the mindset of students. Do you really think a business as a teenager changes the way you look at money, responsibility, or independence? And how do you think it changes the perspective of a student?
Certainly, running a business as a teenager transforms how we look at money, responsibility, and independence. So money shifts from quick spending to thoughtful investment. So as we do a business, we'll understand the value of money. So instead of like spending it on our wants, we spend it on what we need. We spend it on what our business requires. So we focus on growth instead of spending on things. And one another thing is responsibility. So as you like as you are involved in a business, you have to like meet the customers, handle the deadlines, and you have to like do a lot of things. So with handling a business, your responsibility grows. And at the last, it's independent. Independence emerges as you handle decisions solo, from sourcing materials to solving issues. So, running a business changes your perspective on money, responsibility, and independence.
Wonderful. And I think with this perspective, you people have proposed a new plan for a business for our school, right? Cafeteria business. Definitely, I want to see that how it would change the responsibility, the independence, the discipline that children would bring in. So this would really make us understand that starting a business doesn't mean just earning money. It is more about responsibility and independence and discipline. So let's start respecting this, that this idea would help us to shape up as a disciplined adult who can be a resilient adult to handle the rejections and handle the success in a balanced way. With this, Aryan, here's a sentence. I'm sure you have heard about it before. Focus on your studies. Business can wait. Would you agree with that or disagree? And what's your honest opinion on this?
Well, actually, there's no one answer to it. But to be honest, I would partially agree with the statement. I mean, this would also mean that, like, education is important. That's absolutely correct. The first point. Studies improve long-term stability, open doors, and create opportunities that short-term income often skips and cannot. Ignoring academics entirely, though, in favor of business is very risky, especially at the young age that we are in. With that said, I would disagree that the idea of business must be completely stopped. Teenagers today live in a world where learning entrepreneurship can incredibly be valuable to them. And exploring business alongside studies on a small manageable scale can actually enhance their learning rather than distract them from studies.
And honestly, I take the key word, a balance. A balance is probably the real keyword here for us to understand as students that studies and entrepreneurship both go hand in hand to make our life more beautiful. With this, Abdur, I want to ask a question to you. Money also brings responsibility and needs to be developed as a habit. From your view, which financial habit separates thriving entrepreneurs from those who struggle?
So, in my view, the best financial habit that separates thriving entrepreneurs from those who struggle is saving. You know, savings help us recover from unexpected situations. Like, even though you invest, you should have some of your money so that just in case a bad situation comes up or you go into loss, and you still have something to recover. And I think that can really be started from a very young age. So that is what we build up, a habit of savings which can help us in future unexpected situations.
And yes, of course.
And also I think we can also implement this in schools. Like, you know, we can ask our students to start saving up from young age.
Absolutely, it's a wonderful idea. I'm a die-hard fan of Warren Buffett. And Warren Buffett says, before earning, learn to save. 1 rupee saved is equal to 100 rupees earned. So that's what the statement which always tells us that we need to really work on our habit of saving, and which as a school we should develop this attitude of saving. And of course, I have learned in a research in one of the country, they have started teaching children whatever the pocket money comes, divided into 3 parts. 1, spend for yourself. 2, do the saving. 3, focus on investment. And that habit right from the childhood would definitely make us financially liberated and financially independent adults. So that's a good point, Abdur, and definitely we will take it forward in our school to talk to our students about this. And you will be one of our brand ambassadors from ShlokaBuzz who will be talking about saving and who will educate children. I hope this you would take it up forward. So Satvik, I'll close this round with you with one interesting question, and that's more about talking about the student and the ownership on that. So how can students stay ambitious but still ethical while trying to earn or build something of their own?
Well, the key here is to view money as a magnifier, not as a transformer. Money doesn't change our values, it simply reveals who we already are, but at a larger scale. To stay grounded to the values, students should adopt a philosophy of stewardship over ownership. See, if you see as a steward of resources meant to serve others, you naturally lean towards fairness and respect. So I practically suggest 2 things. We first need to define our non-negotiables, which is to decide our ethical boundaries before we earn the first dollar, and then to practice gratitude. Because arrogance is the byproduct of thinking we did it all ourselves. Recognizing the help, the timing, and the grace involved in success keeps the ego in check and ensures we treat others with dignity they deserve.
Well said, Satvik. Success without values is not something we celebrate here at Shloka. Whether it's business, academics, or life, how you earn matters as much as what you earn. And that was really wonderful to hear you all, children. What I really liked today is that none of you spoke only about money. You spoke about learning, you spoke about responsibility, and a balance between your student life of academics and entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship in school is not about just earning early. It is about thinking early, failing safely, and learning responsibly. You don't need to start a company tomorrow, but yes, you can start observing problems, thinking creatively, and understanding money today. This is ShlokaBuzz Talk, where students don't just prepare for exams, they prepare for life. And that's what we are doing at Shloka and the soldiers of BizTalk, who is going to educate themselves, educate the students, educate the future youth that we need to learn about the biz word, biz, so that we know how we can work on our financial independence and financial liberation so that we can make our decisions better in the future. Thank you so much. See you in the next episode soon.